Hi there, how you doing? Today I'm gonna tell you about a function inside Cinema 4D which is called axis extension. This is a quite special tool because the documentation on Cinema 4D is not very good about this function. Let me just show you there. This is the page from the move tool, from the help documentation. On the move tool you've got this section which talks about the axis extension, but it's explained with those pictures, and here you can see if you try to do what they explain here to do to make the same thing as shown on the pictures here, there's a mistake here. It is written, this is exactly what can be done. Activate, for example, vertex snap in the snap menu and proceed as follow. This is wrong. This is not the vertex snap that should be activated. This must be the polygon snap. If you just activate the vertex snap, it will not work. Here, in this example, they are showing how to align this face of this volume on the left face of the right cube here, as you can see on the right, but vertex snap is not okay for that. There is another mistake on the help section. Let's go to rotate, show help. In the rotate tool help, you will find the where is it? Yeah, here it is. The axis extension can be extended to any length, blah blah blah. Take a look at the example above. A cone has been aligned to the corner of a cube. There is no example above with any cone and cubes. So this is the second mistake, and the third one is on the rotation tool, the scale tool, sorry. On the scale tool there is a specific here it is, about the axis extension. Axis extension function is available here as well, and there is no precise example here, but you can click on axis extension here. There is a link, an hyperlink, and it brings you back to this wrong example. So that's why axis extension can be quite difficult to understand if you take a look at the documentation. So okay, let me check the time, 3 minutes and a half. Okay, now what is axis extension? So precisely, this is a tool that will help you constrain any transformation. This can be a move, a rotation, or a scale. That will help you constrain a move using a transformation from a transformation applied to an object, a face, an edge, a point, or everything you want. You will constrain the transformation using a reference and a destination reference, sorry. And this is some kind of a shortcut, because let's say I have those two cubes which are exactly the same, but this one is lower than the other. If I want to set them at the same height, I can simply select those two cubes and use tools from arrange or center, and from center, y-axis on the middle, apply, and as you can see, they are centered now in the middle vertically on the y-axis, but the cube from the left has changed its position to be in the average vertical position of both of the cubes. The one on the left is now lower on the scene, and the one on the right is now upper. Let me just make a Control Z and do. Alright, and Control, how is redo, Control Y. Alright, so I want to center this cube vertically to this one, but I do not want this one to move. So there are many things we can do. So just for you to understand how easy it is in like 3ds Max to align something to something else. Here is 3ds Max. So here there are two cubes. Basically, when you have a parametric cube in 3ds Max, the axis is at the bottom, at the center of the bottom. So I have those two cubes which are exactly the same. This one is lower. So if I want to align, to move this one on the vertical z-axis, yes, in Cinema 4D this is the y-axis vertically, here this is z, you just need to click on the z and move it. Alright, same thing inside Cinema 4D. You can constrain the move by clicking on one axis and moving the object. So now if I want this object to be aligned to the other, I need something to snap the object I'm moving to the other one. So inside 3ds Max this is really easy. You've got this snap tool that you can toggle on with the left click, and you can define which are the settings for the snapping if you right click on the button. So let's say I want to use the pivot points. The pivot here is the axis, which is here at the bottom. Alright, so in 3ds Max you just need to click on the vertical on the z-axis here of this object and move your cursor, your mouse here over the axis, the pivot point of the other one, and now it is aligned. There is nothing else to do. If I want to align the axis of this object to this point vertically, I just need to activate the vertex. So I can use the z-axis, grab this to the vertex I want, and now here they are aligned. This object axis is aligned to this vertex vertically. If I want to align this x-axis, I just click on the x-axis, move my mouse over any point, and it's gonna be aligned. Alright, so in 3ds Max this is something really easy to do, and it is not that easy to do in Cinema 4D. So you can do it using the axis extension function. So how to activate it? This is quite simple. You press the control key, so you can take a look here on the left, at the bottom left of my screen. You can see when I press Shift, Alt or Control or the buttons. Alright, so let's try to move vertically this object and align it to another one. So let's turn the snapping on, and I want to turn the snap on, and I want to align to the axis of something else. All right, so let's just click on the vertical, on the y-axis here, so it is constrained on the y-axis, and if I move my mouse over the other object, even if the snap is turned on, I cannot find the axis of the object. So to do this, you must use another function, which is the axis extension. You must click on, press the Control key, right click on the constraint axis, and release the mouse and the Control key. This is a right click. All right, so now you can move the cursor of your axis, and it will snap whenever there is a snapping tool turned on. Here I just turned on the axis snap, so you can here move your mouse, and now you are ready to set the source point, and you will click and keep the button, the left button mouse clicked, and you move until you find, let's say, the axis of this other object. Here it is. Not quite easy to find, but here it is. Release the left mouse button, and now they are aligned. So quickly, let me do it again. Press Control, right click on the constraint axis, right click on the mouse button, right, release everything, the Control key and the mouse button. Now you are free with the mouse to choose a source reference point, and if you go too far, the tool will turn off automatically. As you can see, the Y arrow is no more white. All right, so you must turn the function axis extension again, Control right click, move your mouse until you find the point you want to use as a reference, click with the left button, keep the button clicked, and find the destination. So here the destination is the axis of the other cube. All right, Control Z. Now let's try to do something else from the snapping tools. I'm gonna turn on point. Now let's turn again the constraint with the axis extension, Control right click here. Let me find the center, the axis of this cube, left click, keep the button down, and now I can align this to a point, because the point snapping has been enabled on the snapping tool. And as you can see, the axis of the cube on the right is aligned on the top of this object. So you can do the same thing using, let's say, the polygon, and I like to use the midpoints. Once again, Control right click on the y-axis, choose your source, left click, drag to the destination. This can be the center of this face or the center of this one. This can be a point, or the center of this face, or perhaps the center of the face that is at the bottom of the left cube, and this is aligned. All right, nice, good tool. In the same way, if I want to center the axis of this object to the corner of this one, Control right click on the x-axis, select, move your mouse to select the first reference. So let's say I want the first reference to be a vertex. Well, I can't. and this is something I don't like in this tool. I think this is missing, because if you take a look at the snapping tools, the point snap is turned on, but if I want to use the axis extension here, I turn it on, but I cannot select a vertex or a point inside this cube. That is something weird. I don't know why. So let's say I'm gonna use the center of this cube, that means the axis, and I'm gonna move it to this point. Alright, they are aligned. Okay, so there is something else you can do, is align this face with this one. If you turn on the polygon, let's turn the point off, the polygon, and not the axis but the midpoints. Now I can select this object. I want to move this one to be well, I mean, I want both cubes to be side by side. Alright, so I'm gonna control right click on the x-axis, release the key and the button, the mouse button. Now I'm gonna move my mouse over the midpoint of this polygon, this face, left click, drag until you find the midpoint of this face of the other cube, and here they are, perfectly aligned. That's a good tool, even if you cannot select a point from to be the source reference, right? Now we are working with two parametric cubes, but let's just take a look at the rotation constraint with the axis extension. Let's say I want this face to I want the normal of this face to face, let's say, this edge. I can do this with the axis extension. First I need to go back to the snapping tools and turn on the edge. I will use the center of this face, so the polygon is turned on and the midpoint. Now I will just make my mouth, put my mouth over I don't remember, this is the Z rotational axis. Yeah, it's the rotational B. Alright, so I'm gonna control right click on this Z rotation axis, control right, release the key on the keyboard and the button, the right button on the mouth. Now I will find the middle point here of this face, left click and drag to, let's say, this edge or this edge, or the middle one, the middle of this edge. Yeah, alright, or the middle of this edge. Where is it? Here. And now the face is perfectly aligned to the center of this edge, because the snapping tool, in the snapping tool I was using the edge as a destination reference. Alright, let me put the cube back on this first position. Now let's turn this cube, because I want to move some points. Let's turn this cube into an editable object here, make editable. Let's I don't know, let's select this face and move it down. So now if I want to align this face with this other face here, I know that I want to move a face and align it to another face. So go to the snapping tool, just use the polygons. I used to call this a face, even if it's a polygon. Alright, Now back to the face, right, control, right click, release the mouse button and the key and the control key. Now choose your face. This is this one. You can see that there's a reference because you can see this little text here that says you are actually selecting a polygon on this object. So I'm gonna just click on this one, left click and drag to this face. All right, and as you can see, if I move my mouth around on this face, the polygon I'm moving will keep the right 8 on the y-axis. Release, and here they are. So this face is aligned to this one. You can use points too. So let me go to the snap tools, point. I'm gonna grab my face again, control right click. Now I just select my face, drag it to this point or this one, so you can perfectly align this face to this point vertically. That's the axis extension constraint. As you've seen, you can do the same thing for the rotate. You can also do the same thing for the scale, but be careful, you can constrain scales on editable objects. If I want to constrain this parametric object on its x-axis, I cannot because it's a parametric object. But I can do some special things like scale this face, so this face will touch the border, the side of this face will touch this polygon. Let me just check my snap tools. So I want to use a polygon. Let's use midpoints. And now on the x axis here, I'm gonna control right click once, release. I'm gonna choose a reference. It's gonna be the middle of my face. Now I can try to scale it, but the reference is on the middle, so it will stay on 0. That's no good. Now let's try something else. Control right click, and I'm gonna try to use this edge as the source reference for my scaling. So I'm gonna just go back to the snapping and activate the edge snap. So now, as you can see, I can snap my my scale axis extension tool to this border, left click, sorry, and move it to, let's say, the middle of this face, or the top edge or the bottom edge, as you need, and release, and now it is properly aligned. So there is just something I want to show you. There are different things that do not work, and there is one thing that does not work at all, and it's no good. So let's say I want to move those 2 points, want to move them up, so they're gonna be aligned to those vertexes here, or this face. Well, oh, it seems I turned on the quantize. No, oh no. All right. Well, let's say I want to move those 2 points so they can be at the same height on the y-axis as those points here. I should use the snapping to points I will remove everything else. I want to snap from point to point. Alright, so those 2 points are selected. Let me select those 2 points back. So I want to move it up, and I want the movement to snap to one of those vertices here. Let's try to use the axis constraint, and you will see that it does not work. Control, right click, release. Now I want to choose my reference. I want to choose a point, but as you can see, there is no snapping to the point. Don't ask me why, I don't know. You can snap to the destination, but from here I can't select any point. If you only use one point, you can control right click to activate the axis extension, and now you can snap to the point, to the selected point, not to any, to this point, I mean you can snap to another point, but not every point. Well, let's say snap this point, move it up to this one. Okay, if you select 2 points, right click, control right click, check your source, it's impossible to snap to any of those 2 points. There is something else you can do. As I show you, you can move your points one by one. There is something else you can do is turn on the edge and the middle point on the edge. Select your 2 points, control right click, release, choose the midpoint on this edge, left drag to, let's say, the midpoint of this edge, and now those points are vertically aligned to the other one. So I know it was a little long to explain, but there are some limitations, some bugs. It's strange not to be able to select a snapping point from the source to the destination. That's it. It's a very good tool for modeling and to arrange the scene if you know the limits well. Now you can subscribe. There will be more I think interesting videos in English, even if my English is not perfect. Like or dislike, and leave me a comment if you want me to talk about something special or precise. And I will make some videos in English if I don't find those kind of subjects on the internet. Here about the axis extension tool, I found nothing except something in Russian, so it was very difficult for me to understand. And as you have seen at the beginning of this video, the documentation of Cinema 4D about it is very poor, and well, that's it. So subscribe, leave me a comment if you please, and see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.